गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन एंड वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। और आज हम डिस्कस करने जाने वाले हैं व्हाट इज़ द स्टैंडर्ड असेसमेंट पाथवे फॉर फिजियोथेरापिस्ट एंड स्पेशली फॉर दोज हु आर physio in India and those who wants to practice in Australia and they are trying to come here and they don't have any idea what is standard assessment pathway, how they can practice in Australia as a physio if they have studied a bachelor's of physiotherapy in India। तो आज का जो वीडियो है वो बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेटिव होने वाला है। इट्स जैम पैक्ड वीडियो। जिनको नहीं पता है उनको मैं बता दूं कि मैं भी APPA रजिस्टर्ड फिजियोथेरापिस्ट हूँ ऑस्ट्रेलिया में। 3 साल से मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एज ए फिजियोथेरापिस्ट प्रैक्टिस कर रहा हूँ और जो भी ये डिटेल्स रहेगी वो सारी डिटेल्स ऑस्ट्रेलियन फिजियोथेरापी काउंसिल की जो वेबसाइट है उसके ऊपर अवेलेबल है। बट स्टिल दोज हु डोंट नो और दोज हु डोंट हैव आइडिया वेयर टू स्टार्ट, दिस वीडियो विल बी द बेसिक गाइड फॉर दैट। एंड अगर आपको कुछ भी डाउट रहता है, कुछ भी क्वेश्चन आता है तो आप इस वीडियो के कमेंट बॉक्स में कमेंट कीजिए और मैं ट्राई करूँगा कि सबको मैं आंसर करूँ। लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द वीडियो। फर्स्ट थिंग फर्स्ट, व्हाट इज स्टैंडर्ड असेसमेंट पाथवे। जो भी इंडिया के फिजियोथेरापिस्ट है वो इंडिया में रजिस्टर्ड है और हमारे इंडिया में जो अथॉरिटीज़ है लाइक GSCPT in Gujarat state and overall in India we have IAPPA, Indian Association of Physiotherapists. We have 2 bodies who represents the physiotherapy, one from the state and one from the nationwide. Okay, standard assessment pathway is the most common assessment pathway for overseas qualified physiotherapists wanting to be registered and work as a physiotherapist in Australia. If you are an overseas physiotherapist, this will be your basic pathway to get registered in Australia. क्या होता है कि standard assessment pathway में there is 4 stages. Basically there are 3 stages only. One is the assessment, second one is the written exam, and third one is the practical exam. We'll start with the criteria first. तो उसका criteria क्या रहता है कि अगर आप फिजियोथेरापिस्ट हो इंडिया में और आपको ऑस्ट्रेलिया में आना है दिस पाथवे थ्रू, जो भी फिजियोथेरापिस्ट है इंडिया में उनको इंडिया से अगर ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एज ए फिजियोथेरापिस्ट प्रैक्टिस करना है तो उनको यही पाथवे लेना पड़ेगा। मिनिमम क्राइटेरिया to get registered in Australia for standard assessment pathway is आपके पास bachelor's degree होनी चाहिए and usually those who have qualified from India they have bachelor's of physiotherapy in study. So आपके पास bachelor's of physiotherapy की study होनी चाहिए। Experience is not required to start a standard assessment pathway, but if you have an experience, well and good. That will be a good point over your application. The second criteria to meet the requirement is आपके पास practice करने का जो registration होना चाहिए वो होना चाहिए। As we mentioned before, जो IAPPA है वो होना चाहिए। Important thing जो आपको स्टैंडर्ड असेसमेंट पाथवे स्टार्ट करने के लिए चाहिए रहेगी वो है इंडियन एसोसिएशन ऑफ फिजियोथेरापिस्ट का लाइफ टाइम मेंबरशिप का सर्टिफिकेट which you can obtain from IAPPA if you have qualified or passed the PPT in India, which is easy to get, but yeah, you still have to do an application with the IAPPA. You will get all the details from the website of IAPPA. I have both registration, so आपके पास वो registration होना चाहिए और वहाँ पे कोई restriction नहीं है इंडिया में as a physiotherapist. This is the basic criteria for to start with the standard assessment pathway. इस standard assessment pathway में क्या include होता है, कौन से stage होते हैं। तो usually Australian Physiotherapy Council की website है उसके ऊपर 4 stages are mentioned. तो पहला stage है eligibility assessment, the second stage is a cultural safety training जो एक छोटा सा टेस्ट होता है और तीसरा होता है written assessment और चौथा होता है clinical assessment। अभी बात करते हैं eligibility assessment. Eligibility assessment is the first step of standard assessment pathway. Eligibility assessment is a document based assessment. You can say that जो आप इंडिया में प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो एज ए फिजियोथेरापिस्ट, जब आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया में आते हो तो वही जो आपकी क्वालिफिकेशन है उसको आपको ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी वैलिड करना होता है एंड दे विल गिव यू एन असेसमेंट बेस्ड ऑन द डॉक्यूमेंटेशन यू प्रोवाइड। सो आपके पास अगर आपकी बैचलर्स की डिग्री है, ट्रांसक्रिप्ट है, आपके सारे यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के जो सर्टिफिकेट्स है वो आप सबमिट करोगे और उसके बाद आपको एलिजिबिलिटी असेसमेंट मिलेगा। as an interim certificate. Before you get the interim certificate, you have to pass through a small exam. This is the first step, okay? And once you fill out all the forms, online application जो एलिजिबिलिटी असेसमेंट है उसका ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन रहता है, आप पूरे डिटेल्स डॉक्यूमेंट ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन में सबमिट कर दो. उसके बाद आपको एक लिंक मिलेगा थ्रू ऑस्ट्रेलियन फिजियोथेरेपी काउंसिल जो होगा यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मेलबर्न. उसमें एक छोटा सा कोर्स रहता है which takes around like 5 to 8 hours to complete. If you are very much focused, it can take less than that, but usually it takes around 3 to 5 hours. So once you fill out all the forms and all the application, and then you have to pay for the eligibility assessment. उसका जो चार्ज रहता है वो somewhere around $1,136 रहता है. So this part is very easy, like you will only need and basic details like तुम्हारी बैचलर्स की डिग्री चाहिए, तुम्हारा पासपोर्ट चाहिए, अगर तुम्हारा नाम चेंज हुआ है तो अगर शादी से पहले आपका नाम कुछ और है और शादी के बाद आपने नाम चेंज किया है तो आप मैरिज सर्टिफिकेट है वो अपलोड कर सकते हो. Here is the one thing they will ask you, that whether you need an APA membership or not. So this is like a complementary thing to APC standard assessment pathway. You should say yes, because APA is another body that regulates and works for us. It's like an IAP but for Australia, and it will also provide you an indemnity insurance. So that insurance is very compulsory to work in Australia as a physiotherapist. So if they are asking that whether you need an APA membership, say yes all the time, okay? So this is a really important thing, and lots of people does mistake and they choose no. So even when I did my application, I did say no, but I did email them and I said that I wasn't knowing that what's the procedure and all, and they just changed it to the yes. So but I'm not sure whether they are doing it now or not, but if they are asking you, just say yes that you need an APA membership. There is $0 charge, and it also gives you an indemnity insurance and a year of like a 2 years of an membership with the APA until you get registered fully, like until you pass this entire standard assessment pathway. So now comes the cultural safety training. So once you finish with the cultural safety training, Australian Physiotherapy Council will issue you an interim certificate once you have passed the eligibility assessment and completed the cultural safety training. So it's like a safety training we all have to go through. It's all MCQ based question and answer, so it's easy to pass, okay? So once you pass this cultural safety training, you will be issued an interim certificate. So interim certificate is the most important thing. Once you get your interim certificate in Australia or maybe overseas, like say you are in India and you get the interim certificate, then you can proceed to the written assessment, and once you finish with the written assessment, then you can proceed to the clinical assessment. So this is an entire process. Usually it takes lots of time and hard work to pass that, but the first 2 stages is very easy. Like you just have to put your documents in, you just have to pay and make sure your documents are all legally right, okay? So they will check everything, they will cross verify everything, every detail you provide to them, and then they will process that thing, and then they will give you a resolution that yep, you are right to work in Australia, you have a physiotherapy background in India, but that doesn't make you work in Australia. जो आपको अगर इंटरिम सर्टिफिकेट मिल जाता है तो उसके बाद आप स्ट्रेट अवे एज ए फिजियोथेरापिस्ट काम नहीं कर सकते. अगर आपको एज ए फिजियोथेरापिस्ट काम करना है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में तो यू विल रिक्वायर एन APPA's registration, which is full or limited APPA's registration. So we can't cover that much thing in today's video, but I'll be making a video on what is limited APPA registration and what is the written assessment and the clinical assessment in a separate video. So this video is just for a basic knowledge about what is a standard assessment pathway. अगर आपको कुछ भी doubt है, question है, you can comment down in this video and I will try to answer all of them. और एक चीज़ है जो है what are the charges of doing an standard assessment pathway. So entire standard assessment pathway has different fees, okay? So the first thing is eligibility assessment, which is $1,136, and it comes with a cultural safety training exam. So ये दोनों का charge always it goes together, so you will be paying for $1,136 plus $228 for both of them together. So that goes somewhere around $1,365. Written assessment का जो charge है, जो fee amount है, which will be somewhere around 1,958, and there isn't some additional admin fee and GST and taxes on that. And the clinical assessment is somewhere around costing $4,263. So entire jo assessment pathway hai, standard assessment pathway, if you can crack in one go, you will be paying somewhere around $7,585. बहुत सारे फिजियो ने पूछा है कि standard assessment pathway क्या है और how to start the application and everything. It's very easy. Once you go onto the website of Australian Physiotherapy Council, you will have a separate section for the overseas qualified physiotherapist, where you can just go to the standard assessment pathway and you will find a one button saying apply now, and you can start this application straight away from that button. It will take you to the page where you have to do a sign up for the first time if you are a newcomer, and if you are not, you can sign in again and start the application. So once you sign up, they will ask you all the basic details like your name, your surname, your preferred name, your basic details from the passport. Then they will ask you for your transcript, and they will also ask you for your basic details of your bachelor's of physiotherapy. So it will be like an course duration, your course name, what it is called in your local language or the English. They will ask you such basic things. After you finish that, they will ask you whether you want an APPA membership or not, which I already mentioned. Say yes all the time, because it's very important to work as a physiotherapist in Australia. And then they will ask you to upload all the documents. Try not to scan the image in your phone. Instead of that, just go with the printer scans. Okay, that makes your work a bit easy, and it will be a lot easier for them to read and everything, and it will be, your process will be a bit faster if your documents are readable enough. Okay, so try not to use dull images. Try to upload and full resolution images into the application, and once you submit that, they will ask you to pay for that, and usually it goes to the PayPal, and you have to go through the PayPal to pay the total amount for the standard assessment pathway. जिनको नहीं पता है, के लिए जो ये सारी लिंक्स है वो मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में डाल दूंगा, तो आपको वो सारी डिटेल्स यहाँ पे डिस्क्रिप्शन में ही मिल जाएगी. और also I'll be putting my Instagram account below that, which is Anand in Australia. Do follow me. If you have any question, you can just straight away message me there. I will be sharing all the details about how you can get registered in Australia as a physiotherapist, what is a pathway for APPA, what is APPA. I will also make a video on what is entire assessment pathway process. So जो भी videos आने वाली है, that will be very informative videos coming on. I hope कि जो भी आपके questions है regarding standard assessment pathway, I have cleared that up. But if you still have any question, just drop it down. Okay, so and I will try to answer all of them. अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छा लगा और informative लगा तो like कीजिए, subscribe कीजिए, और आपको मिलते हैं next video में.